Marika, please introduce yourself and then get started with your workshop.
Hello, everybody. Where should I start with my introduction? I am originally
Just tell
from
us how wonderful you are.
That's what I keep for the end. First, I'm going to tell you how wonderful you are. I think none of you needs actually a workshop on adult motivation because your intrinsic motivation is clearly maxed out just by the fact that you are all here tonight. About me, I am originally from Poland. I am based in Austria. That's also where my Toastmasters home is, in the club in Innsbruck. And I basically joined Toastmasters first to improve my spoken German. And thanks to this wonderful journey, I could become a club president. I could organize and moderate events in German. And I became area director and trained some teams last year. And that's how I got to know most of you. And also, thanks to that, I started a new job in December. So this is why I haven't been very present with Toastmasters in the last months. And that only increases my joy to be here with you tonight. I have lots of content prepared, lots of interaction as well. And I'm happy that there are so many advanced members already, because then I know that we can jump straight into the deep waters of adult motivation. And the coaching, of course. It's a really broad topic. I've been studying it for years, and I still feel like I only touched the tip of the iceberg, but I will try to give you as good overview as possible, and we're, of course, going to apply things. I'm a big fan of learning by doing, so that's what's awaiting us today. Can I start, or is there any
Please,
other words, Harry?
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Great, wonderful. So does anybody need a break? Because there was no break after a very informative session by Yanis. Yanis, I don't know what this body language means.
Sorry. Something means
Okay.
sorry.
If you need a break, just take a break. Of course, we are all adults. We can manage our time and bladders without me saying when to do it. But
don't worry, Marika. We all closed our cameras and we had breaks, our own breaks. So we are all ready to listen to you.
Oh, perfect.
So really what you're saying is that while Yanni was talking, you went and did something else.
But we were listening to you.
Oops. So I'm going to share my screen. And for this session, you will need, well, your computer you already have, which is good, or your phone, because we're going to use Mentimeters. And we are also going to practice. It would be good for you to have something to take notes, because the moment you go into breakout rooms, you will not have access to any chat or any screen sharing that I do. So it would be good if you note for yourself some questions or the purpose of the exercises. But that's coming towards the end. And since you are all advanced Toastmasters already, you surely have some expectation. Coaching is not new for you. Mentoring is not new for you. And motivating adults is definitely not new for you. So we're going to start by using Mentimeter. Don't worry if you don't know this tool yet. You're going to learn now. It's very simple. You can either type menti.com in a browser, internet browser, and enter this code, or you can use your phone to scan this QR code. So please take a moment to get in. And I can see some thumbs up coming, so that means that it's worked for 4 people by now, 5, perfect.
But Marika, there is no place to write the code, enter the code, but it's just write instructions and that's all.
No, if you go menti.com.
Yes.
Click on a thumbs up.
Yes, we just
did you scan the QR code? Did you scan the QR code, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. If you scan the QR code, then you are automatically in. The code is only if you were to use the internet browser on your computer.
Okay, then.
So you can choose which device you want to use. For the phone QR code.
So we will use just 2 thumbs up.
No. I'm just waiting. I'm counting the thumbs up. There are 12 now. But you can already reflect on the question you're going to answer. And that's related to your expectations. Like, what do you want to take away from the session? What do you hope to discover today? I guess it has worked for anybody. Does anybody need more time? I unfortunately don't see all the faces now. I'm sharing the screen.
Should we go to the next page if we click on the thumb?
Yes.
Okay, their minds has gone to the next page. It's fine. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And now on your screen, you should see the question. What do you expect to gain during the session? And you should be able to type a response. Training credits. That's a very pragmatic person.
I hope their camera is on.
To learn something new, I wish there was a little bit more specific stuff, but I hope that there will be something new for you as well. I'm going to share some of advanced models that I learned during my coaching education. Inspiration for personal experience, more about adult motivation, new insights, new tools, how to slow. Good. This person who wrote this, there will be a chance later to experience some coaching. So that's a good topic, I think, for coaching. A 5-star performance by Marika. Okay, really high expectation. I won't dance tonight. Or maybe if you motivate me to learn something new about myself, like, am I an adult or not? And more about different perspectives on coaching. Some ideas about how to meet members' goals, not Toastmasters goals. That's very good. Perfect. All right, I see that the 13 thumbs up also sent 13 responses. So we're going to move on to the next question. Because coaching is a very catchy buzzword nowadays. We have business coaching, sports coaching, sales coaching, and there is coaching here and there. I want to ask you.
Marika, sorry,
Yes?
can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
We're being asked to put the code number into the chat, please. Seems like somebody missed that.
It's on top of the page here, 655.
Let me quickly type
Yes.
it in here. Oh, there we go. Somebody's already done it. Well done.
Oh, perfect.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you,
Carry
Daniel.
on.
Don't worry, you didn't miss much. This is the last question. And the question is, what does a coach do? Please explain to me what a coach does. The purpose of this question is to get us on the same page, just so we use the same definition of coaching in this session. Motivate, push, train. You can already see how differently we look at this. Coaches experiences, coaches train to manage, train. Guide, encourage. His, her, I'm not quite sure about this. Achieving, these are your associations, right? Guiding with right question, this is the essence of coaching. Provide feedback. Set objectives. Clear the fog. Very good. Take risks, experiences, listen. That's very big, very important. Continuous improvement. Yes, motivation, accountability, teaching. So see, there are a lot of overlapping things. They all have to do with people development, of course. And within people development, we have multiple professions, multiple specializations, and multiple approaches. Some of them overlap. You can combine different approaches in one conversation. For example, mentoring and coaching are very often combined. And I will explain to you the difference between them, just so you are more aware and can recognize and choose the suitable approach as well in your conversations and motivating people. Perfect. I think we're all good. If you haven't managed to get in and send your response, don't worry, because there will be enough time for interaction. So I will hear you or from you anyway, or we will. And now let me share my presentation. By the way, should you have any questions in the present during this time together that we have? Just raise your hand and I'll respond. There we go. Do you see my screen?
We do.
Perfect. Now I just would like to have it one page at a time. Great. Okay, so welcome everybody. You want to learn a lot of new stuff, a lot of things about adult education. You want stories from experience as well and some inspiration. And in short, our agenda has 3 highlights. There will be a couple of parts to this session. We will look into the self-determination theory. If you know the terms intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, it came from the founders of this theory. It's one of the most influential ones we have. We will look into neurological levels of DILTs. It's called DILT pyramids. And these are the tools that you can use to help motivate yourself or others. And of course, we will have some coaching. We will go into this intrinsic coaching practice. And this session, I build up like a pathway. Because we're all Toastmasters, we know how pathways work. We start with an icebreaker, what brings you here, which we already just did with the Mentimeter, where you shared what we expect to take away from this session. And we will continue with increasing difficulties towards the end of the session. So first, I want to show you this picture because it illustrates the difference between mentoring and coaching. On the left side, you can see somebody who drags you to the direction. They know the way. They know exactly where they're going to. They maybe been there before. And this is what mentor does. Mentor knows the way and can share the insights, can share the feedback and give more guidance. This is what we do at Toastmasters very often when there are new members joining and we mentor them to progress within the organizations. But this is the way we've already passed. On the right side, you see a coach. And coach works more with you. The way is maybe unknown because when you are doing coaching, you really focus on the person themselves and you as a coach are like a blank page. So how can you contribute then maybe? And some people wrote, guide with good questions and listen and clear the fog. And this is what happens. If you have a journey and you're walking on your journey, then the coach is somebody who's not in front of you telling you how you should walk, but it's somebody maybe behind you or maybe with eyes closed who asks you, what do you see? Where do you want to go? What's important? What's the obstacle? What should you consider? What tools should you take? And by these questions, by this approach, it helps you discover new things, discover new approaches, and create clarity. So this is a big difference between one and another approach. Is that clear for everybody, this distinction? I see some thumbs up, that's good. So the topic of today's session is Coaching for Leaders Adult Motivation Masterclass. It's a long topic, but it consists of these 2 parts. On the one hand, we have some coaching. We already covered the difference between coaching and mentoring. We'll also look at setting intrinsically motivating goals. One of you expected to learn how to progress with members' goals, not only Toastmasters goals. So that will be relevant. And we will also try a basic coaching process to help others set intrinsic goals. On the other hand, we have Adult Motivation Masterclass. And this is where we will all reflect about our own motivations and look into these 2 different models to understand the motivation a little bit deeper. And as I said, this is going to be an interactive session. So I would like you to now think about the time where you felt extremely motivated. It could be with Toastmasters, it could be with your job, your family, some project that you wanted to do. Maybe somebody else motivated you. Whatever it was, think a little bit about the situation. And we won't use Mentimeter anymore until the end of the session, but we can use the Zoom chat. And I would love you to just put one sentence about the situation. Maybe it was when I started a new job, maybe when I planned my holidays. I don't know, whatever comes to your mind when you felt extremely motivated. Maybe you wanted to propose to somebody. After my first pay rise, nice, Laura. When starting something new, be it a job or some project, Maria, created TEDx Traili in 2022, 2023. Wow. When I am rested, to reach the top of Kilimanjaro. Wow. Harry, you're impressive. Anya, when I did my internship in New York, when I wanted to start exercising again to run in races. Races, yeah, perfect. Cool. Coaching TEDx speakers, see them shining on stage. Beautiful experience, Elena. When learning something new, Dennis, it's very relatable. I also love learning something new. Love it. The next question I would like to share, being a TEDx organizer, nice. It's surprising how nobody thought about like full-time jobs, you know? Oh no, somebody with a pay rise and internship in New York. But now look at the statements, and there is a number from 1 to 6. It's a scale, sort of a scale. And now please put a number in chat that corresponds to this motivation feeling that you experience in that situation. So was it, I guess it will not be a 1. I have no desire to do it, but maybe you were told to do something, or you thought you should be doing something, which would be a 3. Maybe we thought 4, this would help me achieve my goals. Or that maybe you thought this is a part of who you are, or you just really fell in love. You just loved it. And that gave you motivation. I see 5, 4, 6, 4, 4, 5. So more like the right of the scale. No 3s so far, not even the race. The person with the pay rise. 6. When I finished my first puzzle with 1,000 pieces. Cool. Yeah, achieving, right? That feels nice. When we finish something we wanted, when we achieve our goals, that's very motivating. Great. 6, 5. We will come back to this scale because it's also connected to the theory we're going to jump into. But first, let's do the opposite exercise. When did you feel extremely demotivated? And you can already hear on my voice, that's the kind of feeling. And please write in the chat again in 1 sentence. When was it? When did you feel extremely demotivated? For me, it was last year when I had to get up so early and commute for such a long time to my last job. Too much negativity, cleaning dishes are very relatable. When the teammate that I trusted didn't do what he has to do. That's very demotivating, yeah. Efforts not recognized, not appreciated. Absolutely, James. Not being recognized for the value I brought. That was also my experience in that last job of mine. When company had multiple layoffs, oh yeah, I experienced that as well. That was the bottom of any motivation. And it was like, sometimes you have days where you feel motivated, sometimes you have days where you don't feel motivated. But when something like that happens, I feel like this demotivating phase is just dragging on forever. It's very difficult to reignite it then. When the work wasn't clearly defined, you spend more time correcting someone's mistake. Yeah, absolutely. Rejected after almost 30 interviews. Oh man. Yeah, this is also extremely motivating, the job search. That's extremely demotivating as well. So let's look again at our numbers. I guess nobody's gonna put a 6 right now or 5. But let's see where on the scale from 1 to 4 are we lying with these experiences. -10. Okay. I can understand why. 1. 1, 3. So I have no desire to do it. I would better do it, which is something like I should do it. Should and want are also two different things. We'll dive into that as well. 1, 3. Any more numbers coming up? I was told to do it. I have no desire yet. Absolutely. So I hope this exercise showed you that although there are different experiences and each of us are like, we are all individuals, there are some common themes, right, of what motivates us and what doesn't motivate us. And when we dive into this theory, you will see, it will maybe gain a little bit more clarity why it is that way. So let's start our pathways level 1. You've already been promoted from icebreaker to the level 1, which is the self-determination theory. And as I mentioned, it's one of the most influential theories of human motivations. It connects also personality to it. And it's been developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. They started working on the theories of human motivation already in 70s and 80s. And these terms, extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation, come from their research as well. So here is our scale again. You see these numbers from 1 to 6 on the top. And at the bottom, you see the spectrum of motivation. On the left-hand side, you see lack of motivation. And on the right side is the opposite of it, which is intrinsic motivation. And there are multiple stages of extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is not just external rewards like badges or pay rise. There could be a little bit more nuances to them. So starting from the left, I was taught to do it. This is, of course, something where we are getting external rewards from or external punishment. We might get a pay rise or we might get fired. One step more to the right, introjected regulation. It's somewhat external, but there is internal reward mechanisms. You have, I would better do it. This is something that is like kind of our internal pressure. Then we have identified regulation, which is more connected to internal source of motivation. Doing it this way will help me achieve my goals. It's related to our goals, our values. Even more to the right, integrated regulations. Doing this is a part of who I am. That's very connected to our identity, or maybe even our purpose. But even further to the right, intrinsic motivation, the real intrinsic motivation is, I love this, it feels great. I'm in my element, I'm in my flow, I want to do it. And obviously, the more to the right, the more to the intrinsic, the more to the self-determined side of things, the more motivated we're going to feel. So now the question is, how do we get there? And how do we get others there, right? We don't want to be like this bad boss with sugar and some, punishment, some belt to hit people on their heads when they don't deliver. We want people to move more to that right intrinsic thing side and discover that. And that's where we need understanding of adult motivation. And that's where we can use coaching. And the key is to focus on 3 basic psychological needs. These are autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy is the need to be in charge of your own life. We don't like to be victims. We don't like when things happen to us. We don't like when we plan something important, and things go wrong or not our way. We want to be in charge of our own course of life and our actions. The second one is competence. This is the need to develop mastery in the tasks that are important to us and also apply this mastery to be also competent. And relatedness is our need for sense of belonging and for interaction with others and connectedness with others as well. So I know in the session before, Yanis told us that maybe ChatGPT will replace Toastmasters, but it will never replace the community. And this is the basic human need. So if I give you an example of motivating somebody, let's assume that you want to find the new, that you need the new succession planning, succession team for next year. And you come to one person and you say to them, hey, we really need somebody to be a club president next year, and you are the best person to do it because nobody else will ever manage. There are so many tasks to do, but don't worry, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, but you just have to go and become the club president. And on the other hand, you're going to come and say, hey, you know what? Being a club president is such a cool task. I have learned so much. I developed such a great sense of discipline and time management. And I feel like I could conquer any obstacle in the world that there is. And I can really recommend you to consider maybe doing this for a year. Maybe it would fit with some of your personal goals. And you can also decide who you're going to work with and support other members. Do you notice the difference? The first example is very much about like, oh, so desperate, you should do it, please do it. And like kind of trying to guilt trip this person into doing the thing. But it doesn't leave them any autonomy. It doesn't give them any competence. It doesn't highlight the competence. And it doesn't relate to them or their goals, or it doesn't show how it relates to others, what impact it would be on others. So here I put again the definitions because you're going to get the handouts, of course, so you will know how this needs work. This was all about the self-determination theory, and we're going to jump one level higher. But before we do, I want to ask you if there are any questions at this point. I think we're all good to continue, yeah? Perfect. Then we're going to upgrade to the next level. Do you remember your level 2 in pathways? It was understanding your communication style, understanding your leadership style, and basically reflecting about yourself. And this model, I learned during my coaching education. It's also used in neuro-linguistic programming, and it's been developed by Robert Dietz, who is also a founder and a consultant and a trainer in the topics of systemic neuro-linguistic programming. It's a very powerful framework to decide where to help create change. And change is one word that I haven't mentioned so far today yet, but if I really love something and I don't need to change anything, then I don't really need to be motivated to that, right? When we lack motivation, it's usually to something new or something that doesn't really make sense to us maybe yet, or maybe feels too difficult, and maybe we're stuck somewhere. And in this situation, we use this model to help strengthen or discover the motivation. This model consists of multiple levels. You can see from the bottom to the top, we have environment, behavior capability, beliefs, and values, identity, and purpose. And the core idea of this model is that the levels build upon each other, and the levels from the top impact the levels down, but the levels from the bottom don't impact the levels up. To give you an example, let's say I wanted to learn Arabic. I live in Austria. I speak Polish, English, German. I don't need to speak Arabic, but I want to go to Maldives maybe again next year, and that would be good if I could communicate with people. This is just my fancy. Learning Arabic or speaking Arabic would be a behavior. But of course, behavior doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in a specific environment. And in the environment I am right now, which is my home, where there is nobody who speaks Arabic, probably I'm not going to speak Arabic, or I'm not going to be motivated to use it or learn it or interact with it whatsoever. But what if I signed up for the Arabic class and I go to the classroom? Then I'm surrounded by 5 other people who also are going to learn Arabic. There is the teacher and there is the guidance. And there, of course, my behavior is going to change. To learn Arabic, I need to have a capability to learn the language. If I don't believe that I am able to learn Arabic, I'm not even going to start. Then, beyond our capabilities are, of course, our beliefs and values. There are people who believe that they are not language talents. And this beliefs is going to impact their capability. And this capability, their skills, is going to impact their behavior. And that behavior impacts the environment again. So see how it trickles down? Identity. If I have an identity of a German speaker, then of course I'm going to use German, like I'm going to use English. If I don't have an identity of Arabic speaker, I'm not going to use Arabic. And sometimes in this specific example, it will be a little bit far-fetched to think of, okay, I'm going to develop my identity of Arabic speaker and try to create that and pursue that. That's not very suitable for this specific example, but there are very often situations where reflecting about our identity or new roles that we want to take is very, very useful. Exactly with succession planning. Being a club president or taking over a role is like taking on another identity. And maybe when you look at the level of behavior, for example, as a VPE, I have to sign into the Easy Speak nearly every day, do some stuff there, send some reports, motivate people, ask people, call, whatever. If I only look at the behaviors and environment, maybe I'm not really going to be motivated. But if I connect this role to my identity as somebody who wants to help other people grow, then it will be easier to make these behaviors. And above identity, even above our own identity, is a bigger purpose. For whom, for what, and we're doing that. I have also one slide with this questions. So now I'm going to go top down again, just as a recap. Now I gave a couple of examples. So the coaching questions, you can think of them as coaching questions. They are open questions. We have a purpose. For whom, for what am I doing this? What are my passions? What am I part of? Purpose trickles down to identity. Who am I? Who do I want to be? That impacts our beliefs and values. Why is it important? Why can I not do it? We have non-capabilities, which are like skills. What are my skills? What skills am I missing? We have behavior. What do I feel? How do I react? What do I think? What will I do differently? And then we have an environment. When, where, with whom? I guess you know some examples when people want to lose weight and they put the scales next to the fridge. This is how you can manipulate environment to impact your behavior and then impact a little bit level higher. But this is not as efficient as going from top down. Is that, did I explain it well, or would you like to have another example? I see one thumb up, but I see also like thoughtful faces. I know it's a lot of content and this model is really complex. It took me a long time to digest it. Maybe I'm going to give you a different example. The example of drinking and smoking. Both are behaviors. Both are not very good for our health. And if we want to focus on our health, which would be our purpose, for whom and for what are we doing this, that's our health, then we shouldn't drink and we shouldn't smoke. Now let's compare how these two behaviors look like in this pyramid. The identity of a smoker. If you're a smoker, how do smokers behave? They need the cigarettes, they accept this behavior, they impact their environment with their need to smoke. They expect that they can take longer breaks at work maybe, or additional ones because they need their cigarettes. And somehow the whole environment adapts to that, no? Now look at the drinkers. Would you admit that you're an alcoholic? I don't think so, because what does that tell about you, about your identity? That you have absolutely no discipline, you have no control, you don't value health, you don't value family, maybe you get violent, you're not reliable. And there are all these associations. What I mentioned, these are the beliefs, the values, the skills, the behaviors. Just by one word, smoker, drinker. And now imagine that I want to give up smoking, but I live in an environment that benefits my smoking behavior. I get to get an extra work break. I get to talk to the colleagues with my cigarette. And my non-smoking colleagues, they just have to sit in front of a computer for this 15 minutes. Why should I ever bother? See how this impacts the change mechanism and the motivation to change as well? Good. Then I'm going to go to the next slide, which is about intrinsic coaching. now we saw this pyramid, we saw those levels, and we know the basic needs behind the intrinsic motivation. Now I would like to ask for a volunteer to reflect about their own goal today with us and get deeper into their motivation. For intrinsic coaching, there will be 3 steps. We'll start with goal and the vision. We'll look a little bit into the motivation, and we will define the way forward. And this is what I would like all of you to try. But before we get there, I would like to also show you how it could be done here in the safe environment of our group today. And this is why I will stop sharing my screen. And I would like to ask somebody if there is a volunteer who would like to change something or think about a goal that they have to strengthen the motivation there. I see a red light, and now I wonder if I already ran out of time. Is that a timer? Who
No,
is that? Margarita. Oh, you scared me.
It's with a red curtain up.
I thought I'm good in time, and now I'm like, oh no.
Plenty of time, Marika.
Mhm.
So why don't we give a simple generic goal, maybe like
Mhm.
I want to be a better speaker.
That sounds perfect. Let's go with that. So, does anybody want to be a volunteer with his goal, or should we pick Harry? I want to be a better speaker. I would like to have one person for the reason of, we saw the scale, right? From 1 to 6. There was a very thin line between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. And this is why I would like to have one person who could represent this goal for the whole group, just so it can get, just so we could make this demonstration before going to breakout rooms. Anya? Anya and Ken. Oh, now we have both. Oh no, what do I do now?
Ken, please go first.
Kent. Kent, is it all right?
That's fine. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Do you want to take that goal? I want to be a better speaker, or do you have your own?
That's fine. I want to be a better speaker.
Are you sure?
Yes, I do. I really want to.
You really want that? Okay.
Yes.
But this is a very generic goal, right? So
Yes.
what does it mean to you to be a better speaker?
To be able to put speeches together more quickly versus having to spend a long time writing it and rewriting it. I'd like to be able to write it and then practice it so I can get the verbal part out versus just finishing up and then giving the speech.
So writing speeches quickly and delivering them like more fluently, can I say it this way?
Or practice the speech
Practice the
more
speech.
often before I give it versus just practicing it a few times and giving it. I'd like to be able to write quicker and then be.
So if you could do it, then what would it give you if you could do it?
It'd give me some satisfaction that I've done the good job versus giving a speech and thinking, gosh, if I had just spent more time practicing, I could have done even better. So just a satisfaction of a job well done.
So you would have satisfaction of a job well done. What else would you have?
Probably impact others and give them serve as a model as far as other people in the club, as far as delivering speeches.
So you would become more of a role model?
More what?
You would become more of a role model?
Yes, yes.
So you would be a role model. How else would you be?
I can't think of anything offhand. It would just give me satisfaction as far as accomplishment, being able to do it and having confidence that I could do it. Create speeches more quickly.
So what skills do you think you would need to get there?
I would need to get on the chat GPT.
GPT. Okay, that's one step. Mhm.
But really, maybe just streamline the speeches more quickly and just focus on a couple things, and that way I could write them more quickly. That's probably what I would need to do.
So how would you know that you're already writing speeches quickly? How would you
By
recognize it?
by the amount of time it would take. I mean, just of course, I don't write them all at once, but it would be that, within a reasonable period of time, I could shape up a speech pretty quickly, or at least come up with an outline pretty quickly.
Coming out with an outline pretty quickly.
Yep.
How else, like, is there anything you would need to learn additionally to reach that goal?
I think it would just be practice, learning how to just coming up with a topic and focusing quickly so I could focus on that versus, a lot of different thoughts
Mhm.
swirling around.
Mhm. Is there anything else that would be needed for you to feel that you're becoming a better speaker, apart from writing speeches more quickly?
Just practicing,
Just practicing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And how often would you like to practice?
Oh gosh. I guess, give a speech every month. I
Mhm.
guess create and write a speech every month.
Give a speech every month. How often does your club meet?
Well, I have a club here in the States. We meet every week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So then belong to a couple other clubs that meet twice a month.
Yeah,
So
this is like my club. That's why I was thinking like, oh, one speech every month. That's a very sportive, sportive speed. Mhm. So what would help, like what would you still need to make it happen? Do you feel that there was anything you're still missing?
I guess could have an accountability partner. Somebody says, "Hey, you're going to give a speech every month. How are you doing on that?"
Mhm.
And maybe get some ideas for speech topics and maybe come up with a topic that I could write several speeches about versus coming up with a
Mm.
bunch of different topics every time.
Is there some topic like this that you really, really like, that you're so passionate about?
No, but I don't know, I picked up photography as a hobby, so I think I could come up with different speeches about photography.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's cool. So, is it okay for you to finish now, or would you like to still specify something for yourself or share something, Kent?
No, I think I'm good. I'm good.
Cool. And thank you very much. Let's give Kent
Sure.
a round of applause for his courage, and also Anya for her flexibility. Perfect. So now I want to ask all of you, what have you noticed in this demonstration? What have you noticed in this exchange that we had? What's your observation?
You didn't tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You asked questions.
I ask questions all the time. Mm-hmm. Did it feel like weird? Like, sometimes when we ask, sometimes we're afraid to ask questions because we think that we will be perceived like these interrogators, no? Like, question, 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 no input at all. But sometimes I summarized what he said and I asked for confirmation, like, is that what you said? You would become a role model, for example? So this is how you can have a conversation. And you see that what Kent came up with from this statement, I want to become a better speaker. That's why I wanted a specific person, because even with such a generic statement, let's say I'm a mentor and somebody comes to me and says like, I want to become a better speaker. And I start overloading them with like, oh, then you have to sign up to Pathways and schedule this and that and do blah, 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 blah. And you need to watch your body language and this and that. And, their heads would explode. They don't have any autonomy. They don't apply their competence because I apply my competence. So they stand there and they just like, okay, they feel even more lost than helped with my actions. And this is why it's so important to balance both. If I wanted to give my input or feedback as a coach, I would have first asked Kent for permission. I would say, Kent, is it all right if I share some idea or give you a suggestion? Would you like a suggestion from me? So this is how I would approach it. I was very tempted to give some suggestions, to be honest, because I'm more often a mentor than a coach. But this is why we have today the opportunity to practice. And I will show you, I won't throw you so deeply, but I will show you also my presentation again. And that's when I would like you to take notes, because after that, I will throw you into breakout rooms and you can try to have a similar conversation, or at least try to follow this process. It won't be perfect for sure. You also don't have any, like, we don't know each other. So there is no level of trust to go really very deeply. But I just want to give you a couple of hints as to what to focus on, and encourage you to try, because this is a safe environment. And the more practice we have, the better it's going to function also outside of this safe space. So with this intrinsic coaching, you could see also in this presentation which we gave with Kent, there were a couple of elements. You had goals and vision, you had motivation, and you had way forward. Motivation maybe wasn't very clear, but I was asking him, what would it give you? What does it mean to you that to be a better speaker? And then he mentioned things like being a role model or writing speeches quickly. So maybe a time efficiency, being a role model, being an inspiration for others. This could be some of his values. Later, he mentioned also photography, that it's a hobby that he picked up. I asked him about what topic would be interesting for him. That's also asking for motivation. I asked him also about what skills do you have, or what skills would you need to develop? What would you need to get there? That's also already connected to way forward. I asked him to specify, like, how would you recognize that you're actually a better speaker? And that's where Ken said that, okay, maybe if I gave one speech per month, that would be something that could be a way forward. So it's an easy process, but it's not simple. So you will see in the practice. But let me just give you again what I will ask you to do. You will be paired. You will go into breakout rooms for half an hour. So there will be 15 minutes for each person. I see that some people are not on the camera. So if you end up in a room without a partner, just come back. So you don't sit around for half an hour. We will figure out a different solution, or you can coach me for a change. I would really enjoy that. And what we will ask each other are the three steps. So the first, you ask about the goal. What do you really want? There are different personalities. So some people will tell you very clearly, I want to be a good speaker. And others will tell you, a lot of blah, 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 lots of clouds. This is the kind of person I am. I talk about everything because I think out loud, because I'm extrovert. And if you work with such a person, you just ask, how could we write it down in one sentence? Just to narrow it down, to achieve this clarity for goals and vision. Right? Is that clear so far for this part? Step one is about goals and vision. You can just ask, what do you really want? And I also like to ask confirmation. Is it really what you want? Because very often when we say some goals, we say things that we think we should or want. Like, we are at Toastmasters, we should want to be better leaders, right? But not everybody wants to be a leader, right? Some people want to be speakers, and vice versa. Some people want to organize things. Some people want to give speeches. Some people want to judge. But what do you really want? Then we're going to strengthen the motivation. And there are multiple ways to do it. Once you have a statement, I want to be a good speaker, the easiest, simplest strategy you can follow is to ask why. Why? And whatever answer people give you, you ask, why? And you do it 5, 6, 7 times, because only later, when you go a little bit deeper, the real reasons come up. For Kent was very open with us. He told us satisfaction. Satisfaction is a very intrinsic reason. Then he mentioned at one point, nothing else comes to my mind. But there was, like, I was trying to dig deeper. And maybe in a different setting, there would be some moment where people start to reflect. There is the silence, and after the silence, they say, like, actually, there is also this. And this is how far I dig, yeah, so deeply. Past this, and that, until they think. And asking why is one strategy. It's very, very simple. We won't work with everybody because it's also sometimes being perceived as being a therapist a little bit. So it's better to replace why questions with what questions. What makes it important to you? It's the same question. Why? What makes it important to you? What does it mean to you? And then where would you be? How would you feel? How would, and you see the whole DILT pyramid. This is how I use these levels. I ask him about the behavior. I ask him about the skills. I ask him about identity. Who else would you be apart from the role model? And in the conversation and with practice, it could be very natural. But when you try to apply these tools for the first time, this is why we need the safe environment and breakout rooms, so you can really give it a shot. Strengthening values, strengthening vision, and strengthening identity. This step clear so far?
Yep.
I recognize some fear on your faces. I don't know if it's fear or doubt, but don't worry, nobody died by practicing this. So it's all gonna go well. And then, of course, for way forward, what could you do? What are your options? And then what will you do? And what is your first step? And as well as what do you need and what obstacles are in your way. So this is the part where you kind of clear the fog. So if you think back to this first picture I showed you, the mentor is somebody who pulls you, takes your hand and walks you through, right? They already know the way. Here you don't know the way. This person also doesn't know the way. So you have to help them clear the fog. And that's why you're asking, what do you see on that way? Is it this way? Is it that way? Which ways do you even see? And which way do you take? And then what obstacles do you see, or what kind of tools would you need on that way? Does it make sense? Great. That's, again, the recap. I saw that some of you were making notes. So I'll leave the slide here open, but I need to find the breakout rooms now, and I don't really see this option. So Harry, I will need your help, if possible. If we could just make random breakout rooms for 2 people in each room for half an hour time. Do we have that time? I think we have time until 9, right?
We have, yes, we've got time until 9, so you've got 50 plus minutes left.
Perfect.
So we can wrap up.
So yes, please, if we could have half an hour. So I would like you to work in pairs. You decide who starts first, and then after 15 minutes you switch. And at the end of this time, both of you should have some goal. It doesn't have to be real. Of course, if it's real, it's gonna be even more genuine experience and practice. And after we come back, I would also invite you to share your observation, your reflection, what was easy, what was difficult, so we can also learn from each other a little bit. But please just share what you're comfortable sharing. So it's not, this is not like not school and not police and not interrogations.
Do you want me to move, or do you want to move them, Marika? If you want to move them, it's the 3 dots at the bottom next to the end button.
I
Just
see 3
click on that.
dots, but I don't see the.
Click on the 3 dots, and then the bottom item is breakout rooms.
Maybe because I'm sharing my screen, I see different things. No, I don't see the breakout rooms.
You know the little red button that says end next to
Yes,
it?
I'm on the 3 dots. I see chat preview, record, captions, and AI companion.
Okay, maybe you haven't got control for breakout rooms, okay?
Yes.
Yes, because Marika is not a coordinator.
Sorry?
Marika is
You
not
need to make me into a host.
Yes, exactly.
So I'll make you a co-host, and you can do it all yourself. How's that?
Sounds great. And in the meantime, while you're waiting, you can already
There you
think
go.
what goals you're going to take. Perfect.
Is it there now?
Settings. Recreate. We are how many people? 22?
Yes, don't move me out in case this.
17 now. So if we make 9 rooms.
Yeah, we've got 17 people in the here at the moment, so you don't need 9 rooms.
I need.
You're not going to move me and you out.
All right. Okay, the rooms are created. I'm going to open them now. Then you will be moved automatically. If it so happens that your counterpart is for whatever reason not there, please come back. Maybe you give 1 minute for them to join. And if they're not there, you can come back and we will rematch you or we will do something together in this room. All right? Enjoy the practice.
I think James has left, James Finnegan. He's
James-
coming back. He's not here at the moment.
No, I think he already moved.
Yeah, I think he's moved, but he's not,
You think he's not
not, actually,
there?
not physically here at the moment.
He's been paired with Liesel, who also has camera off. Meltem and Elena, Dennis, and Francesca. Maybe they went for a break. Oh, so now I'm left with you. How nice. But we're recording, so I'm not going to be talking very bad stuff.
Exactly. You have to behave, Marika.
I need to behave. I know. This would be, you know what? Look, I have here the Christmas cup still. Because we were not here, and that Christmas gift package from my sister arrived only later.
Right. Elena's come back.
Elena has come back, so that means that somebody was left. Maybe she was kicked out. Kent is alone. Elena, are you with us?
Elena.
You know what, Harry?
Mm.
I started the rooms, but I actually didn't check the time setting.
That's okay.
But where can I see it?
Somebody else is coming back.
Cat, Meltem.
Yes, I went drop off with Elena. I think Elena was my friend.
Ah,
Is Elena not here or?
I don't know. Probably she's
okay.
busy because of the training.
Okay.
Well, if it's okay for you, because Kent is here, can I put you two together? Kent
Yes.
and Meltem?
Yes.
Milton, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy. Welcome back, everybody. I see some
Who are all
smiles.
these people?
I'm sure you're all shocked about being interrupted because we are Toastmasters. We never have enough time in the breakout rooms. And now we are back. I wanted to ask you, maybe you can share openly some ideas or some reflections, some observations. How did it go for you? Who would like to share?
Well, we were at a crucial point now, and I was like just trying to propose something to Ipek, and I think we just have to continue this conversation at another point. So Ipek, just contact me and we'll
Okay.
we'll pick something.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Thank you. So
I'm
my
so sorry.
my part was like half finished, but I can comment on Anya because I had the chance to provide some questions for her. I can evaluate myself.
Mhm.
So it will, yeah, I mean, I took notes for on your slides, and I thought maybe I can use those questions, but most of the time I didn't use them.
Good.
Yeah. I ask my own questions, and I always try to think that okay, I mean, like I shouldn't do any. I shouldn't use any questions that that sounds a bit directory, kind of like what is the word for it? Yeah. Like I didn't want to interfere her, and she mentioned some points that are really um, how can I say, that are really alike with my previous experience also. So so I might also talk about my previous experiences because we have some similarities. But I had my self-control. So instead of talking about myself, I always stick with my questions.
Well
I always
done.
try my
That's extremely
best
hard.
to generate ideas about her goal. So that was my attempt, and I hope it worked for Anya.
We did. So yeah, I get some new insights. So thank you so much, Ipek.
You're
Very
welcome.
nice. Oh, well done. Well done. These are like really hard things, especially when we get some new, I think especially for extroverts, when we get some input that relates to our experiences, we immediately want to share. Maybe this experience is not even that similar. It just seems like this to us. And maybe for another person, they just listen to us like, why are you even telling me that? No. So it's really hard to stay on track and really focus on that other person. One metaphor that always helps me in the way I try to prepare for my own conversation is the picture of a blank page. Like when you go into this kind of conversation, you have to imagine you're a blank page. There is no Marika, there is no experience, nothing, just a blank page. And the only thing I have to put on this blank page is what the other person tells me. So this is the kind of metaphor, the picture I use. Thank you for sharing your experience, Ipek. Anya, would you like to add something to that?
Well, as I said, I got some new insights really and follow-up steps. So I'm really happy.
Oh, it worked for you. That's really cool.
Thank you.
That's nice. It's also nice for me to hear that you'd like to continue the conversation, because then you can have like more practice. That's always good. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts, observations, experience? Was it hard? Was it easy?
Kent, you look like you're ready to share.
Well, I'll just mention I was with Meltem, and as it turns out, I'm glad that we were in the room together because I am going to be a mentor for 4 sessions with her, one of her clubs in Turkey.
Wow.
And so she kind of coached me on what they needed. So it's kind of like a back and forth, but it's very, very good because I've never been a mentor before. So just understanding what her club wants. And of course, I live in America, and she just told me they would actually like to hear about just different things about America from a business standpoint if you go there. So that helped me out quite a bit as far as what to prepare for. And then just, speech structure and grammar, because her club that I'll be visiting will be they're all new members. And so also she coached me as far as how to give feedback, and that lots of times clubs don't give the kind of feedback you need, but since I'm a native speaker, I can give them feedback and they won't feel offended as much.
That's so exciting. It sounds again like you already solved the first challenge of finding a topic where you can derive multiple
That's
speeches
right.
or no.
Now I can give a speech about it.
Okay. How much can be achieved in just half an hour of coaching? I love that. Meltem, how was it for you?
First of all, your session with Kent was very helpful. Your questions and Kent's answers to you, it was very good example for all of us. And Kent's questions also very helpful for me. I had difficulty to writing speeches, and Kent asked good questions to help me. So it was very successful session for me. Thank you, Kent, and thank you, Marika. Over to you, Marika.
To hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. If you weren't such advanced Toastmasters, I wouldn't have done this exercise because I've tried it at the club officers training, and people came back with a feedback like, oh, it's really, really hard. But it sounds like you managed quite well. Or were there some other rooms that feel like it was really too hard and we need much more practice? These are the quiet people, right? Anyone else would like to share their experience or observation? Otherwise, I would like to wrap up. We have 5 minutes until 9. And I just want to ask Harry, because what I have prepared still is an invitation. I actually would like to ask Harry if you plan to collect any feedback, because otherwise I would use the Mentimeter. But if
Can
you
use your multimeter.
Hmm?
Use your multimeter.
Okay, then my dear fellow Toastmasters, I would like to invite you to use the Mentimeter again. This time I think I managed to even copy the link. Because I would like to ask you again about what reflection do you have after all this journey we went through over the past 2 hours? We started with reflecting with difference between coaching and mentoring. We reflected about your past, where you felt extremely motivated and extremely demotivated. We dived into self-determination theory, where we looked at different types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. And we also looked at the 3 basic needs that we need to guarantee to others: the autonomy, competence, and relatedness, for them to feel motivated. Then we looked at a little bit more advanced model, which was the DIRTS pyramid with different levels. And when we feel stuck on one level, we can use a question that brings thinking to a different level to help people move forward and discover some source of motivation. And then we try to apply this all in a small coaching exercise about goals, motivations, and vision. So it was a really full-on session. You did really well. And I would love to have your insight and reflection. Getting to know someone takes time, but it's worth it. Very nice. Very interactive session, smooth and insightful, excellent combination with practice. I'm really glad to hear that you enjoyed it. Harder than thought it would be to provide coaching without giving suggestions. That's ever learning, ever, like, what is it called? Lifelong learning. That's a really long journey to become a good coach. And keep your mouth shut. That's really hard. Sometimes we also give suggestions. These guys like questions. No, we say like, how about insert your opinion? No, or whatever we have, and then we think we're asking a question. Or did you consider? Patience and step by step moving closer with question. Power of silence after questions. Oh yeah, that's also very important. Engaging session was valuable experience. Tough to ask and just listen. That's true. That's very true. I see that 6 people managed to go into Menti. And I'll go to the next slide, which is a similar question. What are you taking away? Like, what from the session? Oh no, I clicked one too many. Oh yeah. What from the session you want to take away and apply afterwards? Now I'm thinking of it, I could have asked, I could have used the Zoom chat, but I'm so used to having all my insights at the Mentimeter so I can retrieve them later. There to coach people. That requires a lot of courage, especially in the beginning, right? Because asking open questions is like giving stage to someone else and you don't know what's coming. So it's also a scary situation. Questions to move from a level to another one. That was also very helpful for me. But it was also the most confusing model during my coaching course. Don't be too pushy. Let the person decide by themselves what they need. Very nice. Listening is a big part of coaching. I remember in the beginning in this cloud, when I asked, what does a coach do? Somebody wrote, provide feedback and guidance, etc. But a lot is listening. Trust your intuition with what questions to ask. I think that's also a very nice takeaway. Thank you so much for sharing this. One last thing I would like to show you. One last thing I would like to show you, in case you would like to dive deeper, or in case something you will forget, or maybe you will want to refresh or get some additional examples. I do have videos where I talk about these both concepts that I explained today on my YouTube channel. The videos are maybe not that perfectly made because I didn't have a proper microphone when I recorded them, but I can tell you that the contents are very valuable, even for some coaches who actually get educated to become a coach. They gave me some good feedback, especially about the right one, this tool gets you unstuck. That's the pyramid that you got to know today. And there I go into much deeper examples as well. And on the left, I talk about self-determination theory again, but I also talk about dopamine and a little bit more neuroscience. So maybe this is interesting for you for the deeper dive. And do you have any questions? That's all about my background. I'm going to skip that. If you have any questions, this is an easy to remember email address, but I'm sure you can also find me easily on LinkedIn or through Harry or through District or through Toastmasters. And remember, 10-11th May, Istanbul District Conference in Turkey. And with that, I'm going to wrap up for today. Thank you so much for this journey together.
Thank you.